You might remember the project La Chaussette Utile from last year's contest. This year, Maciej is back with his brother, Adam, to discuss her project titled Can We See the Objects Left by Man on the Moon? Please welcome on stage Adam and Maciej.
Hello, I'm Adam.
And I am Maciej. We wanted to know, we wanted to present you our project, if it's possible to see the object left by man on the surface of the moon. In this presentation, we will explain some useful terms and what we wanted to achieve, the theory, the formulas, and the practical aspects, and a quick conclusion.
So, aperture is the diameter of the light-gathering objective or the lens, which is expressed in millimeters, and the resolution or resolving power is expressed in arc seconds, which is a unit of an angle, and it is the ability to distinguish two objects that are close together as two different objects. Then the focal length is the distance from the lens to the converging point of the light, which form a sharp image. Then magnification is the ratio of the size of the image. To the size of the object seen through a naked eye. Then the focal ratio is the ratio between the lens or the aperture to the focal length. Then what we wanted to achieve, or how we did our project, first we calculated the specifications of the telescope needed to see the object on the surface. Then we took some pictures of the moon, and then we compared them to our calculations. And we also hoped to see anything worth our attention on the photos. So in order to see a 20-meter wide object, the telescope would need to have a resolving power of 1/100th of an arc second, and it would have to have an aperture of 12,859 millimeters, and this is the lower limit for the telescope to make it as affordable as possible. And the maximum magnification has to be also 2 times the aperture in order to make it easier to build. And the focal ratio can be any number, but it is recommended by photographers and people who observe the moon and the sky to be a focal ratio of 7, as it is the most reliable and easiest. And these are the formulas that we use to calculate the specifications of the telescope. In reality, the magnification is limited to 300 times due to atmospheric turbulences, and past that number, the images become less clearer and blurry, basically. We use a telescope, Dobson Skywatcher Flex Tube, 305 to 350 divided by 1,500, which has an aperture of 305 millimeters, a focal length of 1,500 millimeters, and a resolving power of 3/800 of an arc second. So with this telescope, we can theoretically see an object that is 708 meters wide on the surface of the moon, but this is only in ideal situations. So this is a photo that we took. It's a photo of the Apollo 11 landing site, and the craters forming an L shape are very characteristic to this site, as they are easy to spot. And the crater in the middle of this photo, the white crater, is 18 kilometers wide. Here we can see that there's not much that we can see with our telescope, and we couldn't see anything left by man on the moon, as everything is smaller than 700 meters, and it is hard to distinguish gray from gray. So a quick conclusion. It is theoretically possible to see such objects, but it would be very hard to assemble such a telescope, as it would have to be 90 meters long. And the biggest optical telescope that we have today is a telescope on Tenerife, which has an aperture of 10 meters, so 2 meters less than it would be ideal for observing objects left by man on the moon. And if we would build such a telescope, it wouldn't be for everyone, and certainly not used to observe the objects that we left on the moon, as it will be easy with this telescope to look at other planets with great detail. And also with this telescope, the atmospheric turbulences would make a big impact on the photo, and it would be pretty much impossible to see such objects on the moon. Thank you.
So nice to see you here. You both have a particular importance for me, because first, you participated last year with your project Chaussettes Utiles. You were the youngest participant here. Don't worry, here, just here. You were the youngest participant last year, so we are really, really proud of that. And you picked your brother and you brought him in. And now he's been doing a project with you. And if I can elaborate a tiny bit more, this project is important for me because, like, you came to my place to use the telescope and then to make the pictures that the people have seen in your presentation. And so I'm really, really happy to receive you here. And yeah, can you tell us a bit more about your project and what you learned? And
we learned that it's very hard to make photos of the sky, especially planets, due to atmospheric turbulences, and also that telescopes are expensive.
Okay, this is not what the best takeaway that I will love to communicate, but I'm personally addicted to the feeling of having some people looking at the first time at the telescope and, you know, having the jaw like doing,
Yeah.
you know, I've seen that in you as well, like when you were looking at the moon. And is it something that you would like to continue and to pursue, or as a hobby, or?
Certainly, yes. I asked my friend if I could borrow his telescope.
Yes.
To look at the moon and maybe Mars when it's close to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer was yes.
He said yes, but he didn't.
He disappeared.
Yeah.
You can come back to my place, guys.
Okay.
And so you've been working as a team this year. How did you separate the tasks? And did you give all the instructions and he had to do all the work? Or how did it work?
No. I did the graphic side.
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah. I teach him how to use the programs to
The
make
softwares, yes.
the softwares to make the pictures better.
Mm-hmm.
And
The free softwares, you mean?
yeah, not the paid one, because
The paid one.
already you have to pay for the telescope.
So from you both, who is more excited for this, for planets and telescopes and all of this? From which one of you do you
I think
think?
Adam.
I think so too.
I met your father yesterday, and he said that you are the person usually looking at the small details and trying to make everything perfect here,
Yeah.
and you are the one looking up there. And
You need both.
yeah,
Sometimes
you
you
need
need both.
both. So it's a really good combination here. It worked well working together on the project.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the fact that I think there was more work, like calculations, and then like
Analysis.
like
and-
adapting them, like and
yeah.
understanding what you have, and like putting them into reality. So I think for me it was harder than for my brother.
But you guys made an amazing work. We also checked the question of the judges. There is an astrophysician in there. She asked you some tricky questions, and you managed to give like right answers. So really, really proud of you. We heard that you may not come back next year. I don't know why.
because next year I finish school,
No, this is not what I wanted
And-
to hear.
and I in that time where the contest is, I would have to study for my
Absolutely. No,
baccalaureate.
we understand. But thank you for your participation this year. People will be able to ask you questions like tomorrow during the Open Doors event. I'll certainly be there. So thank you a lot for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.